On day number 2 of the 2025 ISC World Tournament, the defending champions make their debut in this year's event here in Mankato, Minnesota, as the Hill United Chiefs, in search of a 7th crown, will open things up tonight against Davenport, Iowa's Junkyard Dawgs. Welcome, everyone. Peter Loubardias alongside Mr. ISC, as I like to call him, Blair Setford. And Blair, these games can be interesting in the sense that one group is heavily favored, and that would be the Hill United Chiefs. But for the Junkyard Dawgs, who have quite an interesting European collection of players, you don't get better unless you play against the best.
And it's interesting. These games, Peter, can go two ways. We saw the Northeast Drillers earlier this afternoon take care of business in a 3-inning game, 13-1, 12-run rule differential, and they were off the diamond, I think, in under 50 minutes. On the other hand, in the first game of the day, the Bear Creek Express, the number 4 ranked team in the tournament, were tied at 6 after 6 innings. They won the game going away, mind you, but they had to win that game in the top of the 7th inning against the Grass Valley Greens. So my suspicion here, it's probably going to go the way of the Drillers in this one, but you never know. That's why we're playing the games.
That is why they play them. Hill United, and they'll send their ace to the rubber to begin, and Marco Diaz, who was so integral in the Chiefs winning the championship in Surrey, British Columbia in 2024. Nick White in left. Bradley Ezekiel, an 8-time All-World player. Alan Pecker, who had a day for the ages on championship Saturday starts in right. Luciano Biondi behind home plate. Blake Hunter at third. The captain, Shane Boland, starts at short. Lenny Viavazzo, who played well at the USA Major Men's National Championship last weekend in Oklahoma City, at second, and Tony Gonzalez is at first base. So the Hill United coaching staff of Jeff Ellsworth, John Stewart, and John Hill sending the lineup that I think we will see a lot of, Blair. And here's the group that they will face. And as you pointed out, a number of these players have been in North America playing for a different team this summer.
Yeah, and this is one of the peculiarities of the men's fast pitch season. A lot of guys over here playing with the St. Louis Honey Badgers team, which elected not to play here in the ISC World Tournament this year. That's a shame because they did very well. They represented themselves very competently in a number of tournaments this year, semifinals, finalists, but not choosing to come to ISC freed up these players to hook up with the Junkyard Dawgs. So here we are.
On the season, Marco Diaz, a record of 8-3. He's pitched 77 1/3 innings with the Chiefs. He's given up 36 runs. He's struck out 123 and walked 26. And he'll face the youngster from Parna, number 27, Juancho Masset, who performed for Argentina going back to the 2018 U18 World Cup. And Diaz, arguably the hardest thrower velocity-wise in the sport, delivers a first pitch strike
at 85 miles per hour.
Pitched 32 1/3 innings last year in Surrey and was superb in the championship final. A complete game victory over the now named Bear Creek Gremlins. And the drop ball to Masset misses. 2 balls and a strike. Diaz just 23 and also was the star pitcher in a bronze medal winning effort for Team USA at the recently completed World Cup, as Masset shakes his head and fouls it wide of first base. Great to have you with us, no matter where you might be tuning in from. And there are a large collection of players from outside the realm of North America in this game. as Diaz wastes little time to record his first strikeout of the 2025 ISC World Tournament. He had 53 of those in 2024.
Yeah, Marco looks like he means business here for the Chiefs, and it's a little bit of pressure when you are the defending champions. You've got the target on your back now.
It is very different. I don't think there's any question about it. Magnus Kirsten is the batter. He's a youngster from Denmark who was 3 for 12 at the 2025 European Championship earlier this year. Denmark finished second on one hop to Lenny Viavazo, and there are 2 away. Not something you see, Blair, all that often, but a pitcher in the number 3 spot in the lineup, another player from Europe, from Czechia, number 20, Lucas Kubat.
Well, we had it last night with Will Schlotzauer batting in the 5 spot for Sebringville. So a couple of teams here, at least, Peter, electing to put their pitchers into the batting lineup. And Ty Sebastian batting in the 3 spot for Bear Creek Express. Launched one into the volleyball court beyond the trees there earlier today.
Well, Ty is, to me, he's in a bit of a different category because he is such a great hitter. And when he's at his best, he can compete in the batter's box with almost anyone, talking about Ty Sebastian. Diaz with some movement, and Kubat caught looking. So Diaz sails through in short order the top 3 of the Junkyard Dog lineup. Hill United Chiefs coming to bat when we return to beautiful Caswell Softball Complex.
Called strike 3, the outside corner. They weren't out of that. Yeah. High in the air, Viavazo comes to get it, and the Chiefs are back to the top of the mountain. The gloves fly. The celebration is underway.
Call to end 2024. The Hill United Chiefs set to bat for the first time in 2025. And it is a fairly regular lineup. Shane Boland to lead things off, the captain, the 34-year-old Viavazo, hitting in the number 3 spot. Once again, Blake Hunter, who had an amazing performance for Canada at the World Cup. Alan Pecker, who tried to repeat championship Saturday last Sunday in Oklahoma City, fell just a little short. He had back-to-back 2-homer games as the Chiefs wound up as the runner-up last Sunday.
Okay, we'll get there.
Shane Boland set to lead things off against Lucas Kubat, who pitched 8 innings in this event 1 year ago as a member of the Ohio Bombers, the left-hander from Czechia, and he delivers a first pitch strike to Shane Boland, who on the year is batting .338. He's 22 for 65, 5 doubles, 3 home runs, and 11 runs batted in. And he had a quality tournament at the USA Nationals last weekend where he went 7 for 20 with a couple of doubles and 2 home runs.
I talked to Shane here at the park yesterday, and he is geared up, let me tell you.
Blair, in spending quite a bit of time around the group in 2025, there is absolutely zero doubt who the leader of this team is, and he excels at it in a big way in terms of bringing people together. Seen it firsthand as Kubat changeup that probably only went about 38 feet. Shane's a 3-time all-world player at the ISC World Tournament, including last year, where he hit .333 with a double, 2 home runs and 6 runs batted in. As the Chiefs look to get rolling early and a good drop ball. Boland strikes out as there was a little delay. I wasn't sure, Blair, just for a second if he made a little contact on the swing or not, but apparently now we know the answer.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Peter, that maybe it was a foul ball, but it was just in and out of the glove of the catcher, Wanjo Massette.
So a strikeout for Kubat. And now Bradley Ezekiel, who fouls the first pitch away. The 8-time all-world player, .333, doubled, tripled, has 10 home runs and 25 runs batted in. But in all the time I have watched this great hitter, and I think one of Canada's maybe all-time best, it was not an easy go for him in Oklahoma City. I've never seen him experience a weekend, Blair, like the one he went through. So I guess he is mortal. I wasn't sure. I went so long in between hitless games where I was in person. In fact, I couldn't remember the last one of maybe the 40 or 50 times that I'd seen him.
It's funny with Bradley when we saw this in Kitchener, too. Brad would get a couple of strikeouts early in the game, and you just could see it coming, where he was bearing down with the focus. He'd get a hard hit single, and Joe and I talked about this a couple of times. We actually called it almost to the pitch once. Look out for Brad Ezekiel because he's coming, and bang, it's over the fence.
Well, Ezekiel takes a changeup. Again, bounces away from catcher Wancho Massette. Josh Ambergy is at first base. Magnus Kirstein, the shortstop Trent Cressy, another Czechia product in Filip Kucherik is at third base. Three balls and a strike to Ezekiel, who had a big swing at it but fouled it off his foot as he asked our home plate umpire exactly where that pitch might have been.
And Peter, good segue for our umpire crew tonight. Mike Morrissey from Peterborough, Ontario is behind the plate. Tom Keller, St. Cloud, Minnesota, local fella, is at first. And David Lee from, believe this, Chesterfield, Missouri, over at third.
Suburb of St. Louis. A bouncer, some trouble for Kucherik, and enough trouble that it allows Ezekiel to find his way to first base on what I would guess would be scored an error to third. So the Chiefs with the game's first base runner. And now Lenny Villavazzo, who was hurt early in the year, sliding into second base in a game against the Northeast Drillers, did not return to the Chiefs lineup. That happened June 14th. Came back in Oklahoma City, and the 26-year-old from Mexico returned with a bit of a vengeance, Blair, last weekend. He went 6 for 17, 3 doubles, 2 runs batted in. Made a number of excellent defensive plays on top of that.
Yeah, it was great to see Lenny back in fine form. Almost looked like he hadn't missed a beat.
Really did. Jammed his hand or wrist on a slide against the Northeast Drillers in a game at the tournament in Mitchell. And what a great event that was, with 6 of the top 8 ranked teams involved. Kubat, a nice drop ball, swung on and missed, that time by Villavazzo, as it showed good movement on the outer half of the plate. On the year, Lenny's batting .290, 9 for 31. He's homered once, and he's driven in 7. Just 111 for Lenny at last year's ISC World Tournament. And looks at a rise ball that's high and out of the zone.
But I'll tell you, Peter, what Lenny took away from last year's World Tournament was how superb his defense was and making the World Tournament clinching play in that championship game.
Well, he made 2 or 3 dandies last Sunday as the Chiefs were in a position just like they were on Championship Saturday in Surrey, where they had to win 3 games consecutively in that somewhat similar heat to what we're experiencing, but at about 5 degrees.
Yeah, it looked like a furnace you guys were stuck in out there in Oklahoma City.
It certainly was warm. Ezekiel on the run. He'll have to make his way back. This is not an easy play. They work all the way around it, and both base runners are safe. That was almost like a track meet over at second base. It just shows you what wind is in the park. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, the right fielder there needs to call off the second baseman. That has to be Julian Rittober's ball. Kirstein's got to back off on that. I know he called it initially, but once he lost track of it, he's got to back off.
So runners at first and second for Bruno Matroni. High hopper, and nice work by Kirstein that time to get the 39-year-old veteran Bruno Matroni for out number 2. That was well done, as we are on the topic of second baseman making good plays.
Yeah, he for everything that that went wrong for him on the previous play with Villavazo, that's an excellent bit of defense there to get Matroni.
Could you call anything but a hit with what occurred on the Villavazo ball?
We've had a couple of plays like that last night and today, and that's absolutely a single. If you don't lay a glove on it, I don't know how that you can call it an error unless it goes right through the wickets. But to me, that's one of those seeing eye singles.
Yeah, that was an odd one. Tony Gonzalez, and again, the tight mesh behind home plate. And that's why scouting, almost everything matters. Like, to understand that as a runner at this park can be the difference between winning and losing a game.
We haven't seen anybody thrown out just yet where a ball has come off and the catcher has been able to wheel it down to a bag and get a runner. But Brad Ezekiel was a third away to the plate and then had to throw out the anchor.
Had to scramble back. Tony Gonzalez. He was terrific in Surrey. A hard line shot, and it is gone. Tony Gonzalez, who hit 2 home runs at last year's ISC World Tournament, has his first of 2025, and the Chiefs break out on top. It's 3-0.
Very quietly, Tony Gonzalez is possibly the MVP of this team, Peter. He just does everything very well. Go play second base because Lenny's hurt? Sure, I'll go do that. Play first base? Yep, do that too. Need me to hit third, need me to hit fifth, step up for Quentin Bruce's spot? I'll absolutely do that.
Tony Gonzalez with his 5th home run of the Hill United Chief campaign, and up now to 20 runs batted in as he hammers one on a line off the back fence to get the Chiefs rolling in the bottom of the first inning. And the batter is Blake Hunter, who joined the Chiefs this season, was a Bear Creek, well, actually a New York Gremlin when he played for them last year. 38-year-old from Nanaimo, British Columbia, hitting .327 on the season, 3 home runs and 16 runs batted in. And Hunter had himself some kind of World Cup, 8 for 14 in Prince Albert. Two doubles there, 2 home runs, and he led the entire World Cup tournament in runs batted in with 11. And the Chiefs would love to see another one of those types of weeks from Blake Hunter. As Kubat misses outside and walks Blake. Tony Gonzalez with a 3-run blast has helped the reigning champions get off to a good start in their first game, a game that they are heavily expected to win. Alan Pecker, the Argentine national team member, as the ball eludes what looked to be a frustrated Juancho Massette behind home plate. I don't know if the signals were crossed and he was expecting something completely different, Blair. That's what the body language said to me.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the case, and it happens. Now you want to make sure you've got your signals set, because Bradley Ezekiel out on second base will be peering in.
A bounder by Alan Pecker, and it will roll foul. Allen was 5 for 15 at the USA Nationals last weekend. And Blair,
were all 5 home runs? It felt like it.
No, but 4 of them were, and they came in 2 games. As I remarked on our streaming broadcasts, he was trying to have the same kind of day in Oklahoma City that he had on Championship Saturday when, he homered 4 times, 6 for 9, drove in 9 runs, had 2 in the championship final. Has anyone had a much better championship Saturday?
No, not in my memory, that's for sure. And I have been around, as you're fond of saying now, for a long time.
Alan Pecker. That is a long foul ball. And he hit one last weekend at just a spectacular park, Devon Park in Oklahoma City. They're still looking for it. It's the longest home run I have witnessed this season. That one had about the same type of trajectory. So Blake Hunter, the base runner at second, and Kubat fooled him. Good spin on that changeup, too. But Hill United, thanks to Tony Gonzalez and a 3-run home run, lead it by 3 after 1 on day number 2 of the 2025 ISC World Tournament.
Dreamcatcher, inch by inch, we'll fight to make the lives of First Nations people in this community, this province, and on this continent better. I know we have a long way to go, but I'm proud to say as long as our people have a need, Dreamcatcher will be there for them.
The voice of Brian Porter, big part of the Hill family who have given so much to this sport and continue to try and expand its growth. I thought Brian did an amazing job in his speech today as he spoke for the Hill family.
A tremendous bit of oratory by Brian Porter. I was really impressed. Not that it surprised me, because I know how well spoken Brian is, but just the stories that he told about his family and his uncles and how they helped to raise him. Wonderful, wonderful speech.
It really was. Is the Hill family inducted today in a fine class at the annual Hall of Fame breakfast, which went over, I thought, very well on all accounts.
Yeah, it was a tremendous ceremony, thanks to Larry Lynch. Todd McCabe, the chair of the Hall of Fame committee, a lot of work in putting that together. Larry Lynch, the MC, did a wonderful job, and all of the presenters and this year's nominees to the Hall of Fame, all very heartfelt and humbling award recipients.
Philip Kucherik, the batter from Havlíkov Brod in Czechia. Played for Czechia in the 2023 U18 World Cup, where he batted an impressive .333, and not sure how many times in his career to this point that he's faced someone like Diaz, but Blair, that was one of his better drop balls.
Well, he came right after him, and this ball, you can see it here, it's just going to disappear right under the bat at the plate. Late movement is real tough to catch up with, especially at that velocity.
So critical, the late movement in this sport, maybe never more critical than in this day and age, and maybe in the year 2025, where it's been an awfully good year for great batters for against hitters. Great pitchers. Diaz with movement outside to another player from Denmark, William Schofus, who is the starting left fielder for these Junkyard Dawgs. And he has a 2006 birthday. He has a chance to be around for a while.
It's 19.
That's 19. If he's turned 19.
Maybe the youngest player here.
4 for 15 at the European Championships earlier this summer for Denmark. Doubled there, he homered and drove in 6 runs. In fact, he had more runs batted in the men's European Championship than in the U23 European Championship, which he also played in. And stays alive on the drop ball that he fouls back. Luciano Biondi behind home plate, the young Argentine catcher.
And you can just see the progression, Peter, as the baton has been passed from Bruno to Juan Zera on the national team in the process of happening here with the Chiefs with Biondi.
84 on the pitching radar. And it's strikeout number 3 for Marco Diaz, and in fact make it 4, his third in succession, as he gets William Schofus looking, and now deals with first baseman Josh Ambergi from Wabash, Indiana. One of the great things about this event is just the difference in away and levels, and I love the fact that, for a lot of players in an event like this, it's a highlight to be able to play against this type of team and face this type of a pitcher.
Talked about this last night with the Seattle Dirt Dogs squad. They were in this game last year against the Hill United Chiefs. And Dewey Christensen, who runs Seattle, told me after the game what an honor it was and a privilege for his players to be on that field and facing a team the stature of the Chiefs.
Diaz dealing against this huge underdog in the Junkyard Dawgs. I really didn't intend the pun, but it did work out in the end.
You got it.
Diaz has 5 strikeouts. And Hill United will come to bat in their first game of the 2025 ISC World Tournament.
Peligro Sports provides the essentials needed to give your team an edge on the field. Our brand is rooted in creating a unique experience tailored to the specific needs of your team to ensure your performance is at the best level to execute plays. At Peligro Sports, we rally.
Truro, Nova Scotia's Nick White, who has played significantly more in his 3rd year as a Hill United Chief, and has used his playing time to his advantage. He's batted .375 on the year. He's 18 for 48. And he's as fast as anyone in the sport.
And it's interesting, Peter, the last 2 seasons, Nick White has gotten probably more playing time even than you would have thought, because Pecker's injury last year, Nick got some playing time through the season. Pecker, of course, came back for the World Tournament.
Kubat, and that's what speed can do. Forces a throwaway, and Nick White's going to race all the way to 3rd. It would have been a very close play if this throw, Blair Setford, is on target. And Kubat knew he had to whip it in the direction, but it gets away. And Nick White, feel for him a little bit if that's called an error, because even last weekend in Oklahoma City, he had 2 of those where right on the fence for me, whether they were hits or not, and there's nothing except over the fence, courtesy of Luciano Biondi, who goes deep. And it's 5-0. The 22-year-old has his 3rd home run of the season.
A no-doubter off the bat of Luciano Biondi. First pitch, jumped all over it, and right back up the middle, and one hops the perimeter fence.
Yeah, Biondi, who also runs incredibly well, has some pop. And his 2025 tournament starts with a bang, literally. And the Chiefs in front now by 5. Shane Boland, who struck out, swinging. In the first is the batter. Biondi, again, that was a frozen rope. Although on this day, nothing stays frozen. And we understand there could be a little weather on its way in a few hours' time. Not surprising with the heat and humidity. But hope to get a couple of games in here before that occurs.
And I think, Peter, the one that's in jeopardy here is the late game with the Gremlins and the Grey Ducks.
The Grey Ducks from St. Paul. Is the Hill United Chief captain. Kubat has shown a pretty nice change of pace in the game, despite the fact that he's given up a couple of big hits, a 3-run home run by Tony Gonzalez, and then the 2-run drive off the bat of Biondi. And he comes right back with it again. And Boland had to do everything in his power to stay away from it. Shane also the longtime starting shortstop for his country of Canada from St. John's, Newfoundland. And pounds that fair down the line and will trot in with his sixth double of 2025. As he pounds that. That's why they call it the hot corner over there.
Oh, that was smashed without a doubt. But Shane actually hooked that. He was out in front of it, and but had the ability just to hook that and keep it fair.
So Nick White started the party with a bunt, a throwing error, and then Biondi a 2-run homer, and Boland with his first hit of 2025, which is a double. In Oklahoma City, Hill United able to scrap out some wins early in that event. And then their hitting shoes went on in earnest about inning number 4 of their playoff win against the Northeast Drillers.
Yeah, they went off in that game. That was a close game until right at the end.
Yeah, they scored 5 in the bottom of the 6th to blow it wide open. There's Ezekiel, who reached on an error and scored on the 3-run Gonzalez homer. And you always know it's Brad with where he starts with the bat. No one really starts with the bat way up there.
And even if guys have it close, Brad actually points the tip of the bat at the pitcher right there.
And he's got that top finger. It's always wagging too.
Yeah. As he said on the podcast, you wouldn't teach it this way to anybody, but it works for him.
Listen, when you've had the Hall of Fame career that he's had, you do whatever you want. He has been an amazing player, both at the club level and for his country. Drills this for his first base hit. And they're going to hold Jeff Ellsworth, the head coach. Shane Boland, who took a big turn, but stays right there.
He had the stop sign up early, did Jeff Ellsworth, for Shane Boland, because he was heading into third with a full head of steam.
So 5-0 is, as expected, the reigning ISC world champions, 6-time world champions. And when you consider they only really got rolling in about the year 2012, that's an accomplishment. They'll throw down, and they get Ezekiel on an attempted steal. Great throw by Massette.
Yeah, right on the money. I thought maybe Bradley slid around the tag. We'll see it here. No, he got him.
Excellent throw. And it's the first out of the inning as Lenny Viavazzo singled his first time up. Back in the batter's box. There's the Kubat changeup and finds the top part of the zone for a strike. Lucas is 26 years of age, born in the year 1999. And when you face a team like the Chiefs, what's really difficult is everyone's a threat to take you out of the yard. That almost went through the home run fence. An absolute rope off the fence as Villavazo has a double, and Hill United has their 6th run of the game. That didn't take very long to get out there.
No, that was on a rope.
And now Bruno Matroni. Bruno will turn 40 in December, and boy, has he been a great player for a long, long time. Stepped away a couple of years ago internationally. Part of that, I always think of it, that great group of Argentine players when you go back to junior championships all the way back to 2012, 2014. And you could just tell, Blair, I'll never forget watching that group in 2012 thinking, boy, they've got something here to work with moving forward. And it has absolutely played itself out that way.
Yeah, they were the core of the team that won in 2019. Bruno a few years ahead of that group, and he really blazed a trail for a lot of position players. It had been Lucas Mata, of course, was, and Roberto Baller and a couple of other guys were the pitching trailblazers who came over from Argentina initially. But Bruno, one of, if not the first position players.
And he's been a Hill United Chief for a long time. He's 20 for 62 now on the year after grounding out to second his first time up. He's had a bit of a streaky year at home plate, and when he gets hot, look out. Kucherik, and will retire Matroni for out number 2. Blair said it earlier, and I will echo the sentiment. Tony Gonzalez, the 35-year-old, lives a little under the radar, but amongst the group, trust me, they know how valuable he is and has become. He had a great ISC World Tournament in Surrey, 455. Couple of home runs, 8 runs batted in. He was 2 for 3 in the championship final against the Gremlins with a home run in that game. And he has a home run in this one, and add another base knock and another run batted in for Tony Gonzalez, who has 4 runs batted in to start the championship.
Number 3, Blake Hunter.
And Peter, you referenced the 2 two-run home runs that Alan Pecker hit in the championship game. Guess who was on base for both of them? It was Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, I remember leaving, and unfortunately had to leave just prior to championship Saturday. And Tony was one of the 4 or 5 players that I had not seen a lot in my travels, and he was one of those guys that I'm like, this guy's a player, and this guy can hit. Blake Hunter trying to stay back on the changeup. The shovel from Trent Kress over to Kirstein to end the inning. But Hill United adding more, and they're in front by 7 after 2 on day 2 of the ISC World Tournament on your ISC streaming network. And of course, wouldn't be possible without the great folks at Softball Premier TV.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Marco Diaz, who has faced 6 batters and retired all of them, remains in the circle for the Hill United Chiefs. 7-0 advantage. A couple of home runs off the bat of Tony Gonzalez, who also has added an RBI single for 4 runs batted in. And Luciano Biondi has a 2-run shot in the game as well. Andre Shokol is the batter. He is also from the country of Czechia. And he's only 20 years of age. He'll turn 21 on the 1st of October. And we have chatted a lot on our broadcasts about the young and up-and-comers. And this team has a few of them. It'll be interesting to see their trajectory over the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they're able to keep these guys together or whether they all go their separate ways. But what a couple of 20-year-olds here, that is impressive for me. We've spent a lot of time talking about this next generation, and it's coming. It really is coming, and in some cases it is here. There's Jim Flanagan sent an email around a little bit earlier with, and I think there's a dozen, and it's maybe even 14 players from Czechia here at the World Tournament.
Well, it's one of the great growing countries is Shokol, who batted .611. He had the top batting average at the 2023 U18 World Cup. Goes down swinging, and Marco Diaz has his 6th strikeout, and in fact now he's struck out 5 consecutively. As he deals with Bettendorf, Iowa's Trent Kress, the shortstop. Played in the 2022 ISC World Tournament with the Walcott Lamplighters. Was 1 for 7 in that event. And his hit came against one of my favorite named teams, Marchio Sausage.
Sadly, the late and lamented Marchio Sausage squad thought they were going to hang around for this year because they're just down the road in St. Paul, but Dave Marchio unable to keep the team together.
Yeah, it's always sad, and there's a few teams and some very long-standing teams that were unable to play in 2025. And the Diaz strikeout train has another passenger.
Very reminiscent of Ramon Godoy last night for Ostrander, who was just on cruise control through the first 4 innings in that one. It got a little wobbly after that in a full 7-inning game last night that the Sebringville Sting managed to push.
Interesting to see how long Marco goes in this game. They will have a morning date, I believe, with the Lacey A's tomorrow morning at 11 on Diamond 1. So a bit of a short turnaround for the Chiefs. Julian Reitober from Paraná in Argentina. He's 21. Yeah, you'd love to see a team keep all these players who have played nationally for their respective countries together and see what might happen in 4 or 5 years. Well, Marco Diaz is only 23, by the way.
And Jack Besgrove is only 21, so.
Those guys are at a different.
Yeah, they got a head start.
They got a head start. They're pretty good, both of them. Diaz, another inning of 3 up, 3 down, all by way of strikeout. 7-0 Hill United in their first game of the ISC World Tournament.
How confident are you in your organization's security posture? If your answer isn't 100%, you're not alone. Most organizations aren't doing enough to protect their data, and they know it. With Armitage technology, you can stop worrying about IT security issues so you can focus on moving your business forward. Our experienced staff monitor and maintain your IT infrastructure to keep your business running. Visit us at armitagetech.com and make your technology work for your business.
Starting pitcher for the Junkyard Dawgs, Lucas Kubat, gives way to another fellow countryman, 19-year-old Matthias Zelinka. He went 3-0 in a winning performance for Czechia at the U23 European Championships played a few weeks ago. Did not allow a run. Gave up 3 hits. Struck out 19 and walked 7 at that event. But this a very different task that he's dealing with in facing the reigning ISC World Champion Hill United Chiefs.
Yeah, it's a big step up in weight class.
But your ability as a country to develop young pitchers, and the great thing about this tournament too is every game is an opportunity for young players.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we had Brent Stevenson up here who does pitching instruction for Team USA, and he was actually quite downcast about the future. I mean, yes, they've got Marco Diaz, and he's going to be the ace for the next 3 cycles probably. And they've got Cody Gibbons. But there's no depth, according to Brent. And there's a couple of guys working at it here and there. But, and again, here's a guy who played in the heyday of the 80s, where there was a great pitcher in every little town, hamlet, and village. It's just not the case anymore. And Czechia,
Canada's in exactly
Canada
the same boat.
is pretty much in the same boat. Maybe
they're ahead of that.
Yeah, because the game is still being played at a youth level in some pockets. And there's a lot of up-and-coming Ontario pitchers on that U23 team that's going to play in September in La Pampa in Argentina. But I don't know that the U.S., as good as they are right now, in 10 years, is that still going to be the case? I don't know about Canada either in 10 years. But Czechia is developing, Argentina is developing, Venezuela is developing. Maiker Pimentel is, 24, 25 years old. He's going to be here for another couple of cycles. But they seem to have brought guys through. It wasn't just Eric Urbanea and Ramon Jones, and then it was done. They had guys come through after those two.
Well, Alan Pecker from Argentina, country that probably right now is producing more good young pitchers than any country in the world.
Well, there are 37 Argentina-born players here.
Pecker on a couple of hops, and he runs so well. And Kirstein with a good release to retire Alan Pecker in the third for out number 1.
That was some good concentration by Kirstein, because there's the temptation, knowing that it's Alan Pecker, to rush that and bobble the transfer or spike that in the dirt somehow because you're rushing it. He made the routine play, but he made it with some speed.
Nick White, who dropped down a bunt that Lucas Kubat, the starting pitcher, threw down the right field line. Nick ended up at third and then ended up scoring when Luciano Biondi homered to, by and large, straightaway center. That made it 5-0. Chiefs would add 2 more in the inning and find themselves in front by 7. Oh. There's Missette, the catcher. Missed Zelinka by an area code. That wasn't even close. Might have had a better chance to catch it in Prague than he did here in Mankato. gets away from Zelenka again. Seemed uncomfortable on the plant spot, which is so critical in the pitching process. And every pitcher has a different path. So it gets chewed up out there, and guys land in different spots. Zelenka in his first inning here, trying to find a rhythm. And does find the strike zone on Nick White, who won't turn 22 until December the 4th.
And Peter, you throw a lefty into that mix too, and their landing zones are going to be the complete opposite of the righties. And it does get a little precarious out there.
Looked like Zelenka took a little off that rise, and it had good late movement on it too. Nice spin by the 19-year-old. Nick won't forget 2025 by the time it's done. Played at the World Cup for Canada. Drills this right back up the middle. This is definitely a Nick White hit. He will play for Canada at the World Games in China. That in August. Then in September, he'll play for Canada again in the U23 Pan American Championships in Argentina.
Yeah, he and Max Major, I think, are doing the daily double, if not the daily triple.
They are indeed, both of them. Luciano Biondi, who scalded one out of here back in the last inning. It left in a heartbeat. How long before Nick White is on his way towards second base? Leads the team in that category. And you have some lefty protection at home plate too. But there will come a point in a game too where you're up by a big margin. I'm not giving him the steal sign here myself, Blair.
There's no need to force it right here. You've got a guy that you don't need to take the bat out of Biondi's hand, force him to protect on a stolen base. Let the game evolve naturally. You've got now to 7 where you need to get to. If you get to 10 for the 4-inning run rule, that's okay too. But I don't think you need to force it.
Well, there's part of it too that, and maybe I'm old school in this way, there's no need to, try to rub things in.
No, absolutely not.
Right?
7 is the number you need to get to, right? That gets you off the field in 5. If you can do it quicker, yes, but you do it by hitting the ball.
That ball absolutely ate up Kirstein, and Nick White's going to score all the way from first, and it's 8-0. And personally, I think that should be scored a hit.
I was writing down hit, then I was second-guessing myself, but I think so. Feeling generous today.
Right on the fringe. And you know what else? Your vote and my vote does not matter.
That's true. Very true.
Number 12, Kyle Ezekiel.
Bradley Ezekil's brother, Kyle. I don't know if Kyle ever has a bad day. Just one of the happiest people I've...
You would certainly never know it from his expression.
No, you would not. He's got a smile on his face, whether it's like today at 10-7 in the morning, or he really seems to enjoy life. Did not have an at-bat in Oklahoma City, but comes in as a pinch hitter as the Chiefs have added one more in the third, and it's 8-0. Tries to take it the other way and fouls it down the first base side. Chiefs will have another player join them, and we haven't even mentioned Blair. They're without 2 very key players in Quentin Bruce, who's injured with an ankle injury, and no Nick Shales available to them either.
No, those are two very big holes in the lineup.
Kyle Ezekiel, fairly routine. There goes Biondi, who scoots and slides safely into third. Pretty good effort to get him by Andre Schokol, the center fielder.
Kyle Ezekiel back on to run now for Biondi on that 2-out catcher replacement rule. That's mandatory in the ISC. Peter, just to close on the situation with Bruce and Shales, getting Lenny Villavazzo back indirectly is a replacement for one of those bats in the lineup. And as good as Nick White has been, he's not Quentin Bruce. He brings a different element to the game with some speed, but Quentin Bruce is a level above. And that is just a real deep hole for the Chiefs in the lineup. We talked about that on Outside the Shoot this week, and that episode is now available, so shameless plug for Outside the Shoot.
And Bruce was having a great World
Oh,
Cup.
gosh, yeah.
And he was absolutely on a tear for 3 weeks prior to the start of the World Cup with the Chiefs. A 29-year-old from Grand Valley, Ontario, and he's here in his walking boot. Tough, too. He was really hoping, and I'm not sure if he's going or not, but was supposed to play for Canada at the World Games. He's not going to play. I know that part of it. And the ruling there, by the way, is it's too late, passport-wise, to make changes. Yes.
Really?
Yes. That's not an easy country to enter.
I'm sure it's not.
It is not.
So they'll go shorthanded then.
Yes. That's what I understand. Alejandro Gonzalez, just 19, joined the team last weekend because of the
Bruce injury.
And Nick Shales.
Well, the Bruce injury was Alejandro Gonzalez, and just chronologically speaking.
Well, that's the first at-bat for the young 19-year-old. He had a couple of pinch running efforts in Oklahoma City, but goes down swinging. Another run for Hill United. They lead by 8 after 3 in their opening game and on day 2 of the 2025 ISC World Tournament.
A metal roof lasts a lifetime. Thousands trust Metal Roof Outlet to install stylish, stone-coated metal roofing that looks just like traditional shingles. Make a smart and worthwhile investment for your home with Metal Roof Outlet. Contact us through metalroofoutlet.com to get a quote for a roof replacement anywhere in Southern Ontario. Because when you trust Metal Roof Outlet with your roof replacement, it may be the last time you ever replace your roof.
Marco Diaz giving way to Martin Gonzalez in his first year with the Hill United Chiefs. The line on Marco Diaz, quite impressive, and I am being a tad sarcastic. Faced 9, retired 9, struck out 8.
That's a pretty decent opening night's work Marco Gonzalez. He'll take that to the bank. And for Martin Gonzalez, got to come on here and come right in with confidence that you're going to do the same thing.
Well, Blair, one of the keys of this tournament, and it's a long tournament when it's all said and done, is you require some innings outside of your ace.
Well, these are the things that
it matters.
Right? This is why you build a staff and not just around a single pitcher. It's a long tournament. And again, we've talked about this a lot, Peter. At the top level, the hitters have been ahead of the pitchers all season long.
They have.
You're going to need two guys to get through that grind on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, especially if you drop one of them and you get into the loser bracket.
It's essential. And your ability to give your ace more time to be fresher in those situations, that's a factor too. So Martin Gonzalez, 6-1 on the year in 33 2/3 innings, is climbing the ladder. To foul it away is catcher Juancho Massette.
And just look at the World Cup and the expectation that your ace was going to have to go every game because you couldn't afford to drop one. And honestly,
and a terrific catch as Blake Hunter climbed the ladder to take a hit away from Massette. That's certainly the best defensive effort of this game. Nice work by Blake Hunter to take a hit away from Juancho Massette to begin the fourth as Gonzalez with a rise. Martin has 47 strikeouts in those 33 2/3. And this would be a great time for him to find his best pitching outings of the year.
And Peter, just to close the thought on that World Cup, you could tell who was worn down by the end of the week. Marco Diaz kind of looked spent, I thought, although he pitched very, very well in that bronze medal game. But the day before, I thought he looked done.
Well, he pitched probably the game of the year in the opener when he struck out 10, gave up one hit against Australia on opening day.
Yeah, they came out guns blazing in that one. But against New Zealand in the Super Round, he was trying to gut it out in the last couple of innings.
Blair, the other thing about the World Cup, and holds true as the walk, and the first base runner is Magnus Kirstein, the Junkyard Dog second baseman, is at an event like that, or when this tournament gets to its final 5 or 6, it's a different type of pitching because there's no freebies.
No, that's right.
So they're high leverage at bats, almost every single one of them. And then you add runners in scoring position and time of game, and so it's different to pitch in those types of scenarios. And I think anybody who's followed the sport knew that tournament had a chance to be the most competitive World Cup ever.
Yeah,
and it was.
Yeah, every little bit of pressure built every single game. The shame of it was the structure and the mathematical formula didn't allow for all of the results on the field to effectively matter. And that needs to be addressed.
In one quick statement, I could not agree more. Shouldn't be eliminated by math. Lucas Kubat in the game to hit after giving way to Matthias Zelenka. Kubat's had a couple of nice cuts here. And the Gonzalez drop ball is a good one, even though doesn't look exactly pleased with the location, even though the result was very effective for out number 2. Lukasz Kucherik. And just foul.
Just a little looper.
Just for a second, I thought it might remain fair, but not the case. The Junkyard Dawgs still without a hit. They do have a base runner after Martin Gonzalez walked Magnus Kirstein of Denmark. Gonzalez works the other side of the plate, and Kucherik swung on and missed.
Peter, just while we got half a second here, for the audience at home, at the conclusion of this game, whenever that may be, 15, 20 minutes later, as quickly as the field can be turned around, we're going to start the Gremlins Grey Ducks game. There's a weather system coming in, and we want to get all of the games on the schedule tonight over, if we can, prior to that weather system hitting. So stay with us, and you won't have to wait too long for the Bear Creek Gremlins following the conclusion of this one.
Because of run rule, the Hill United Chiefs could end it in the bottom of the 4th if they were to score 2 more. We'll show you shortly if they can achieve that goal. From Mankato, Minnesota.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Eight 0 for the Hill United Chiefs in front of the Davenport, Iowa Junkyard Dawgs. Another pinch hitter is Jeff Ellsworth and the coaching staff getting everybody an at-bat in the game. And I think that's important, too, as the week goes along. Pipolo Lopez, Edgar, the 31-year-old from Tijuana, Mexico, will lead things off against Matthias Zelenka, the 19-year-old right-hander. Lopez is batting .375 on the season, with 4 doubles, a triple, 3 home runs, and 14 runs batted in. And he's had some big stretches of effectiveness. Maybe his best run came in their first tournament of the year in Kimberly, Wisconsin. Goes the other way, a sinking liner, and tracked well by William Schofus, who got a really good break, Blair, off the bat.
Yeah, that was, as you called it, a sinking liner. Lopez went down and got it, and some good defense out there by Schofus.
And Bruno Matroni, who's 0 for 2 in the game, he's grounded out to second and third in search of his first hit of the 2025 ISC World Tournament. Bruno was the MVP of this event in the year 2021.
That was the post-pandemic tournament where it was a smaller field. You recall you could fly to the U.S. from Canada and vice versa, but you could not drive over the border. And Bruno handled a pitching by committee staff that year with Devin McCullough, Pat Burns, Pablo Migliavaca. Second in the tournament in RBIs, led the tournament in number of hits. Just a real complete tournament. Bradley Ezekiel, the star of the championship game. Defensively, stole, not even saved, stole 5 runs away from the Gremlins, making every bit of use of a breakaway fence.
Well, the Gremlins up next. Now the Bear Creek Gremlins, formerly the New York Gremlins, coming off another USA National Men's Major Championship.
And those were 2 phenomenal ball games that these teams played out of the 3. The first championship game was pretty one-sided in favor of the Chiefs, but
Matroni strokes it and hit it maybe too well as it was run down by Schokel in center for the second out. So good contact by Bruno, but unable to register his first hit of this 2025 ISC tournament. He's a 2-time All-World player, including once with the 2013 Pennsylvania Power. Tony Gonzalez, who's had a huge game, a 3-run homer to kickstart the Chiefs in the first, and then added an RBI single in the second. So 2 for 2 with a home run and 4 runs batted in for Tony. Another player with a infectious personality. He's always got a smile on his face too.
always happy to stop and talk whenever
Sure
you come
is.
across Tony at the park.
And I think probably of all the Spanish-speaking players on the Chiefs, has the best handle on English.
Yeah, I think so too. Peter, you mentioned the upcoming game with the Gremlins. Surprise starter, Cody Gibbons will get the ball against the Grey Ducks. Anthony Brewer for the St. Paul squad.
Tony Gonzalez is just ordered from the drive-thru and asked the ball to go. What a night for Tony. His second home run. 5 runs batted in as he goes the opposite way again to take Matthias Zelinka out of the park. Can we get that to go? Well, he did again.
First time in his World Tournament stats that Tony has homered twice in a game.
So he's tied his home run total of a year ago, including that big one in the championship final. He's a first-team All-World player and might be on his way to another one if tonight is any indication. Of course, as the games continue, the competition level grows and grows. Blair, by my stats, the last time Tony would have had 2 home runs in a game came last year on August the 2nd when he hit 2 home runs and drove in 5 as well in a game against the Ohio Bombers, as Blake Hunter lifts that ball to center. So Tony Gonzalez having himself a night in the Hill United Chiefs opener of this ISC World Tournament.
Let's talk about a local one-stop shop. Live Well for Life is just that, a fitness, nutrition, and therapy facility all under one roof. Located at 3878 Wellington Street in Mitchell, Ontario, you can get so much done in just one visit. A full complement of staff on hand include chiropractic, massage, and personal training to get you back to your healthy self. Find them on the web at livewellforlifeinc.com or give
Live Well for Life, a proud sponsor of the broadcast program.
Nine to nothing. Tony Gonzalez, 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in, and a near fatality up here. I'm only kidding, but a ball did make its way into our area from diamond number 1 right in behind us. That's actually where the Chiefs will play their next game tomorrow morning, slated for 11 against, I believe, the Lacey A's. Is pitcher number 3 comes in, 35-year-old Justin Schofield. One of my favorite people to chat softball with in this world.
Peter, just a couple of notes. Number 1, I want to say thank you to Montana Schofield, Justin's wife, who stopped by with yet another box of cookies for me. This is twice now in about the last 8 or 9 years that Montana has come by with a box of cookies for me. She was on our flight down here and we said hello. She said, I didn't want to give it to you on the flight because it would have been awkward to carry off, but she came by today. So thank you very much. I want to say that publicly. And also just note that while the Chiefs game will be on Diamond 1, you will be able to watch that on the secondary channel that Luciano has set up. It is single camera streaming and it is hooked into Game Changer, so you'll be able to follow along to that Chiefs game tomorrow, scheduled 11 a.m. start.
So Schofield comes on. Marco Diaz, perfect 3 innings. Martin Gonzalez, couple of strikeouts, did give up a walk in his 1 inning of work. Schofield, 6-1 on the year, pitched 40 innings, 15 runs given up, struck out 71, and walked 15, and shows a nice changeup that left fielder William Schofus is well out in front of. From Grand Pré, Nova Scotia. And again, a little something off. Justin's had an interesting season in the fact that when he has been dominant, he's been incredibly dominant. And I feel for him because, and it's almost statistically the case, when he's given up solid contact, a lot of balls have left the yard.
Yeah, we've talked about that multiple times here and elsewhere. The mistakes are few and far between, but they get hit out of the yard.
He's only given up 15 runs in 40 innings, but 7 of them by way of home run. I'm not sure many people study the game more, enjoy the game more than Justin Schofield. And he has a lot of pitching left in front of him before it's all said and done. But Blair, at some point, I probably won't be around for it, but I think he has all the makings of a great color analyst in this sport.
I think he could.
In fact, you know, I certainly have not spent anywhere near the time that you have with all the different players, and there are many that, but this guy, to me, he'd be right near the top of the list. Another would be, and he's not at this year's World Tournament, would be Ryan Boland. Those guys might have to fight. I'd want both of them on each side of me in the booth. And it'd be great because I wouldn't have to say a thing.
I did a game with Ryan Boland in 2016 at the Canadian Championships in St. John's, Newfoundland, and the insight that he brought was incredible. We only did one game together only, and I still talk about that. phenomenal job.
Yeah, I just love talking softball with those types of people. And I guess when you've been a broadcaster your whole life, it's a place that you think about pretty quickly sometimes because you know how difficult it is. In the booth, your ability to have someone who can really make sense of the why things happen, I think makes such a significant difference to the best broadcasts. Like everybody wants to be the play-by-play guy. I get it, so do I. But when you have a good two-person system, I think it just makes for a better show. I really do. And I think that position sometimes is undervalued. As Schofield, as I continue my rant, has 2 strikeouts, but he helped to start it because talked about how much I just enjoy hearing him break down the game. And he has thrown a pretty steady diet of change-ups.
He got Ambergi on a real good rise ball, which, as you and I have talked about, the pitch that he went to work on during the pandemic and basically started from scratch on that pitch. And it's now a real weapon in his arsenal.
I think he'd tell you it's his best pitch. Yeah, he completely reinvented himself during COVID. And he didn't do it sitting on the couch, I might add.
No, he was out throwing 100 pitches a day into a net. Whether it was in the gym, in the backyard. Apparently pitches in somebody's basement, too. Which
trying to end the game here is Andre Schokol. Not quite ready to go. As the song by the Tubes could come resonating out. I'm not ready to go. That's as close as I'll ever get. Nobody needs to hear that. Can't sing, can't dance, too fat to fly.
Well, you went a step further than I've ever tried on the air. I will never sing on the air.
Well, you heard how long it lasted for. 2 bars. Schofield, 2-2 the count. 2 out. Hill United 1 strike away from ending this game. And Schokol, again, having himself a quality at-bat. The youngster from Czechia.
And Peter, it's Jeff Fraser's basement, Brody's father, that they've done the throwing in. I can't imagine throwing in a basement, not as hard as Schof throws.
Guess it depends on the basement.
Yeah, maybe they've got a real big one. I don't know.
You're not throwing anything in my basement. And if you can, you'll be moving out the next day. Ground ball to the star of the show, Tony Gonzalez, who steps on first. Combined 3-way no-hitter for the Hill United Chiefs. And Tony Gonzalez, Blair, he came to the dish tonight, and he feasted. 2 home runs, a single, 3 for 3, and 5 runs batted in.
Yeah, he did it all here for the Chiefs tonight. The coaching staff gets all 3 pitchers into the action, and a good starter here for the Chiefs in defense of their ISC World Championship.
9-0 the final. We'll be back in about 20 minutes' time with another heavily favored group, the Bear Creek Gremlins, as they'll take on the St. Paul Grey Ducks. For Blair, my name's Peter Loubardius. I promise, no more tins. So long for now from the Man Cave.
Called strike 3, the outside corner. They work out of that.
high in the air. Viavazo comes to get it, and the Chiefs are back to the top of the mountain. The gloves fly. The celebration is underway.